All right, welcome everyone. Because I do these meetings, I don't go back and watch the recordings other than to make sure that the recording works. And it always strikes me that I'm really loud. I hope it doesn't come across that way. So I'm going to try to not be so loud. But let me know if you guys can all hear me okay. So this is a good week, a big week for InterVictory, personal achievement, because you start your personal creed document. Several of you have already submitted it, and I've read some of them, and you guys are all right on. You're doing a great job. I'm going to show you some examples of personal creed documents here in just a minute at the end. But I'm going to explore a concept with you that actually ties into this lesson. Feel free to express, unmute your mic, talk to me, talk to us. But I want to start off with, I want you to, you can do this on chat if you want, or if you have a pencil and paper close by. I want you to finish this. I am. And I want you to be like good and bad, right? I am healthy, I am kind, I am smart, I am beautiful, I am weak, I am lonely, I am hopefully not this, but some people might feel like I am dumb or I am not confident. Okay, so you guys are posting some good ones: strong, confident, empathetic, excellent, determined, happy. We're going to talk a little bit about our perceptions today, our beliefs, but we're going to focus a little bit before I show you some examples. Taylor is very honest. I am surviving. That's exactly how I feel today. This is a survival day for me. And I am also tired too. I'm with Michelle. But we're going to talk through this class a couple of times about what this is true. What follows I am follows me. And in the case study today, this week, you're gonna feel that. You're gonna hopefully see that the labels that we give ourselves, the labels that others give us, the labels that we deal with impact how we live. So to illustrate this a little bit, I'm going to go back in history. We all know who this is. In the chat box, or if you want to chime in, I want you to give me some words that describe Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was. If Abraham Lincoln was to do the I am quiz, he would say if he was self-assessing, he would say I am. So almost all of you are saying the same thing. Honest, 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 brave, honest, tall, persistent. Okay, keep coming. Or a couple more. Now, a lot of people don't know this about Abraham Lincoln, but in his early years, he was these things. He was depressed, suffered from depression, and he had a really, really bad problem with his temper. He was angry. He was depressed and angry, and maybe those two combined with each other. No one would describe him as the president as being depressed or angry. He largely overcame it because he had a really good capacity to do these four things. He examined what was going on in his life, and the things that he didn't like, he learned from them. He tried not to repeat his mistakes. He adapted and he grew. He examined, learned, adapted, and he grew. He became a better person. So today we're going to talk about your self-image. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of experiments with this. Here are some words on the screen that describe self-image. I'm going to hit on a couple of these, but our perception, our self-worth, our self-image, our gestalt. Gestalt, loosely termed gestalt, means awareness, right? So I'm aware of things. My door's open in my hallway. My office in the Mannering Center is right behind Freshens, where they do bagels and smoothies. I'm aware of when people order that, and I'm aware of the noise. If you buy something, if you've ever bought a car, let's say that you buy, I'm just going to pick a random car, a Honda Civic. What happens once you buy a Honda Civic, what do you notice everywhere you look? Honda Civics, right? It's just part of your awareness. You become more aware of that. We also have some scotomas. Scotomas are our blind spots. So I want you guys as quickly as you can to answer this question in chat. How many countries have the 4th of July? One, us, one. All of them. United States, one, all of them. Okay, the answer is all countries that use our calendar system have the 4th of July. We do. We have the 4th of July. So does Europe, Mexico, Canada. But we have a blind spot in America because we equate the 4th of July with Independence Day, the celebration of our liberty. Well, that is because we have these paradigms. We have these perceptions that, to sum up as quickly as I can, I'm going to tell the story in a minute. We see the world as we are. So this is a quick story about my family and I just threw that slide up really quickly. My wife and I, when we got married, we hoped that we would have 6 children. And we ended up with 6 children. We have 5 living children, which means we lost a baby over 30 years ago. But we weren't having the kids come very quickly. In fact, there was a season, a decade or so, that we weren't able to get pregnant. So we started talking and thinking about adoption. Well, adoption's expensive. Adoption has some challenges maybe that could come with it. We learned about a little boy that was going to be born in 3 weeks, and he was coming up for adoption, and he was African American. And I was against it. I didn't want to spend the money, and I wanted the girl because we would have had 2 of our, at that time, living children, 2 girls, 2 boys. But long story short, we adopted this boy right here. This is Isaac. Isaac's now 13. And my adoption story changed my paradigm. I at one time was anti-adoption. I was anti-mixed race families. And now I am a big advocate of both adoption and mixed race families. And I love this little boy, even though I spent some time at the school today because he got in trouble with the principal. But that's okay. We will survive today. That was my survival day. But then we had this little girl born, surprise child, not adopted. We had our little daughter, Emery. So our perceptions can change. But what I want to talk about today, I'm going to hurry and go through this because this could take a while. And I want you guys to be open with me and talk to me if you can, if you feel comfortable. But this is the reality. We see the world not as it is, but as we are. Well, sometimes our perception is inaccurate. Our perceptions about our beliefs, that what follows I am follows me, is true. As I look at the chat, most of them were positive, but all of us are a mix, right? I have some things that I'm fairly confident in myself, but I have some things that are my weak spots, are my perceptions, my fears, my maybe phobias. Some of my self-image isn't always positive. So I want to talk to you about how this works. Now, this is very similar to what we're going to learn this week. This week, the law is the law of belief, and the art is the art of belief inspection. So what is true in all of us is those things that we believe are our reality. Those things that we don't believe is also true, even though sometimes they're not. Well, I'll show you this book, if I can find it quickly. This was one of the ones that I told you I would share with you. 2 books. This one, you'll see the cover. This is Psycho-Cybernetics. It looks backwards on my screen, probably is for you too. But Psycho-Cybernetics was written in 1960 by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And he was a plastic surgeon. And people would come to him and they would say, if you'll just make me, fix my nose or fix my ears or make my whatever, change my appearance, then I'll be happier. Well, he was surprised that he could make people look like they wanted to look, like in appearance, but he noticed that that didn't automatically change their perception. If they came in unhappy, they didn't believe they were beautiful, they usually 3 or 6 months later still, in many cases, didn't feel beautiful, okay? And about the 1990s, this book was written, Psycho-Cybernetics 2000, which takes it to the modern science And Bobby Summer, who wrote this book, said, we always act in a manner that is consistent with our self-image. We're going to insert beliefs regardless of the reality of that self-image. So what I want to explore with you for a few minutes is, how is our self-image formed? These internal and self-beliefs. And I'm going to be looking at chat. Just make sure I'm not missing anything. Martin Rossman said this: the discrepancy between the real and the imagined is the root of suffering. So if our imagination is askew, especially when it comes to our self-perception, it can cause us some challenges, okay? So let's talk about this dynamic, okay? I want to talk about how our self-image, our habits, our belief are formed. And it all starts with the left brain and the right brain, okay? So if you hold your hands like this, and you don't have to do this, but I'm going to have you do an experiment in a minute. But that's about the size of your brain, the size of your hands together. Your left brain is your analytical brain. It's analytical, it's logical. When you learn things first, it usually happens in the left brain because it's verbal instruction or it's written instruction. Your right brain is more spontaneous, it's more intuitive, it's more fun. And some people would say that when we learn things, we learn them first in the left brain. So if you go back to when you were 5 or 6, 7 maybe, your left brain would be involved in learning things like tying your shoes. Your mom or dad or older sibling or somebody would give you verbal instructions on how to tie your shoes. That would be the same for typing, for driving. Over time, these things migrate to your right brain. They become part of your subconscious, okay? I can tie my shoes and not think about any one of the steps. I can type on my computer. Those people who play the piano, they can see a note, hit a note. They don't have to think, oh, this finger goes here. I can drive from Idaho Falls, from Rexburg to Idaho Falls, and not think about the conscious part of driving for 1 second. You know, changing lanes, turn signal, you know, braking, it's all pretty automatic. So this is the experiment we're going to do. And I'm going to, the 4 or 5 of you that I see on my screen, this is one of my favorite things. I want you guys to just take your hands and go like this, okay? So show me your hands, those of you that I can see, all right? The rest of you I can't see, that's okay. There's probably a way for me to see more people, but that's okay. So for me, my right finger is on top of my left finger. Sorry, thumb. Right thumb, left thumb. What I want you to do is I want you to switch that. Just do like that, okay? Now, I want you to tell me how that feels. Okay, how does that feel? Someone type it. You're all clutching your hands. Awkward, thank you. Okay, this one's not natural, weird, uncomfortable. Okay, all of those things. This is true if you fold your arms. I fold my arms like this, always. Okay, fold your arms, those of you that want to do it. Now reverse that, okay? And it's the exact same thing. I even have a hard time doing that, okay? It's like, how do I fold my arms opposite? Some people, Susanna, that must mean you're equally talented, right brain, left brain, because you're good with either way. But what happens is we learn things on one side of our brain, and as it moves over, it becomes part of our subconscious. Well, that is also true of our self-image. And I'm going to just put all of this up to that far, okay? Our left analytical side of our brain has 2 principles. The principles are select and eliminate. The right brain agrees and complies. So what happens is if I was to go into a restaurant and say, look at the menu, and they've got chicken or beef or fish or whatever, and I start deciding, do I want chicken or beef? Well, the minute I select beef, I eliminate chicken. Okay, so chicken's now gone, and my right brain just agrees and complies. Yeah, I get beef. I like beef. Looking forward to beef. Okay, it's just intuitive. It's there for the ride. Well, that is true if someone was to come into my office and say, hey, Steve, it doesn't look like you feel well. Well, I start getting the left brain involved. I start thinking about it, and I think, well, could I be sick? Well, if I select I'm not well or not sick, my right brain just agrees and complies and says, yep, I'm sick. And then maybe I might even begin to start feeling sick, okay? I'm going to use singing as an example. My wife is a very talented singer. Most of my kids are talented singers, okay? In fact, I think all of them are. Well, from my early years, I was given the label, I am not a good singer. I am a crappy singer. So every time I think that, I eliminate can't. Every time I say select can't sing, I eliminate can sing. And over time, I just believe that. I am not a singer. I can't sing. And that's happened over time. So here's what happened, right? I'm 6 years old. I was invited to sing at a family reunion. I got nervous, forgot the words, choked, cried, was scolded, made fun of, decided, selected, can't sing. That's the left brain. And the right brain just decides and believes, can't sing, don't like it, won't do it. Okay? And this is an important principle in all of this. The right brain does not know the difference between an imagined experience and one that is real. Okay? So, one time in my life, first time I failed at singing, the left brain thinks about it and worries about it, and the right brain just says, I can't sing. I remembered failing, I worried about it, I imagined it, then I worry about it. And maybe I try and fail again, and I'm teased about it. Get back to here. I remember again, I'm more worried, and I pretty much just have decided this is like locked in. Steve Davis cannot sing. Well, that's reinforced over time because every time I remember, worry, or imagine, the right brain believes that it really happened. So my belief system is I'm not a singer, okay? And so what ends up happening is we have these belief windows, these social mirror, Brother Christensen in Victory calls it. And if you look at my social mirror, I'm going to move this over here. These are some of the things that affect me, okay? I believe, these are my beliefs, right? I am a bad driver. I've been in too many wrecks. I will venture to say that I've been in a head-on collision and I've been hit by a train. How many people do you know of that have been hit by a train in a car? Okay, and I lived through it. Okay, so that's good news. But I have this belief that I'm a bad driver. I can't dance. I'm a good ping pong player. I'm not that smart, but I'm a good student. Kind of stuff we talked about last year. I don't know why I don't like mice, and I really don't like going to the doctor. Okay, and I had a traumatic experience when I was 3, where my hand looks fine. I've got a big scar on it, but my hand was almost cut off. And that was traumatic for me. And so I don't like going to doctors. I'm a good speaker, can't sing, I'm pretty creative, I'm pretty good at basketball. And I think and I believe that I'm a good dad, and hopefully a good husband. Okay? Well, this lens that I see the world through affects how I feel, act, produce, and respond. Okay? So this is where I want you guys to help. So Stephen Harris says, I bet you can dance, don't be so modest. And Cody Ann's asking how I got hit by a train. So I was here in Rexburg. I was heading up to the college by Porter Park. I was a year off, maybe a year home from my mission, maybe more like 10 months home from my mission. There was a semi parked at this cabinet company by the park, so I didn't see the train coming. When I heard the train, the automatic response was to slam on my brakes. I slammed on my brakes. I slid onto the tracks. The train hit the front of my car, flipped me all the way around, and then peeled off the back of my car. And my injury included a scratch on my elbow, and that was it. But the car was obliterated. Another 2 feet forward, I would have been hit by the train, not the front of my car. So I was really, really lucky. So here's why I want you guys to, a couple of you, to be a little bit brave. And you can chime in, unmute would be my preference if a couple of you want to talk to me, or on chat. Is there something on your belief window, like some of these things that I'm sharing with you in honesty, that are poor I ams? I am afraid of mice. I am afraid of doctors. I'm a terrible singer. Anybody?
I don't like to sew. I don't like to, and so therefore I feel like I can't.
Okay. So there's a like factor. Thanks, Jen. There's a like factor there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so maybe somewhere in the past, maybe you tried and like.
I did. I tried, and I found it very frustrating when I began, and that frustration stayed with me. So when I do it, so my husband knows that when a button needs sewed on, he just takes care of it.
Or takes it to a friend, right? I go to my mom. She still lives in Rexburg. So, okay, thanks, Jen. Anybody else? Okay, someone says here I'm a bad reader. Okay. Okay, I'm hearing someone else chime in.
Sorry, my 2-year-old wanted to talk.
That's okay.
Sorry.
You got a little feedback there, probably. So, try again.
I think we're good. So I learned Spanish on my mission, and will occasionally pray in it at home and stuff. When I'm in classes, I never speak in Spanish because I'm afraid that it's going to sound really bad now because I've been home for a while.
Okay,
so.
You've been home for a while, right? So your confidence levels dropped a bit, right? Yeah. Okay. Socially awkward, hate trying new things. Okay, anybody else?
I hate clowns, and this stemmed from a rodeo incident when I was a kid. A rodeo clown came and he picked me up and he took me down to the bottom, but I thought he had like kidnapped me. And ever since then, I'm like afraid of clowns, and I deem them all evil.
Yeah. Okay, that's actually very interesting, right? Okay, here's a good one. Thank you for that, Cody Ann. And a lot of these things might be traumatic since we were little, right? Camille says she's afraid of swimming. You and I could add that to my belief window. I took swimming as a kid. I can make it across the pool at the Hart Building, but I would not dare swim across the lake or anything. I am a poor swimmer. I believe that. Okay, another, I don't like clowns. That's an interesting one. I'm afraid of frogs. Okay. I'm not sure I'm too fond of them either. But now let's use an example. Okay. Being afraid of clowns is a pretty good thing to be afraid of, because Cody Ann, how often do you bump into a clown? Like,
not very often.
They're easy.
And nowadays, all clowns are only in horror films, so
yeah, that was
I don't really need clowns.
So that's an easy one, right? Because they're easy to avoid. Kayla lists here she's afraid of bees. Bees are everywhere, as she said. Okay, and Caitlin says public speaking, which is a very, very, very common one, right? A lot of people are at least nervous about public speaking. But when there's something on your belief window, and some more public speakings, that's, again, not an uncommon one. And then told that you're slow, as in like being able to move quickly, maybe otherwise, okay? I'm also a little afraid. I'm telling you all my phobias, right? I got a laundry list. I'm not too afraid of heights, but I would not do skydiving, right? So if there's something in your belief system that is affecting happiness and productivity, then I'm going to teach you a simple psycho-cybernetics tool to work on that belief, okay? And what happens is the left brain has basically programmed the right brain. So if you want to change your belief system, you have to reprogram your brain. And the tool to do that is called CRAFT. Okay, and I'm going to go through this, and this has got a little of the what follows I am follows me logic. But what happens is, I'm not trying skydiving, John. I'm sorry. Lindsay has a comment. I could show you a picture about icicles. I own 2 homes in Rexburg. One is a rental, but we lived in it for 15 years, and it had a metal roof. Jen might know this house. It's the one kitty corner from Walmart, right? And when the ice builds up on it and it gets when it comes off, it avalanches off. And when it avalanches off, there are literally 100 pounds plus chunks of ice. If someone was on my front step, when the avalanche, it would kill them, right? So I'm a little nervous about when that happens. Well, this is how craft works, right? So the idea here is managing the way your left brain and right brain work. It's managing how you think, right? So every time you have a I can't, I'm not good at, I am bad at something thought, and it's something that you want to work on, then what you need to do is you need to cancel that thought. And you have to be deliberate about canceling the thought. Now, here's some ideas. Bobby Summer, when she actually spoke on campus when she shared this book, she said in this book that you should say stop, right? Or cancel. Well, you're saying it like kind of under your breath, right? But people next to you might think, why does he keep saying cancel, okay? Or I started just shaking my head, right? I have that negative thought, I'd shake my head, and my kids would think I was nuts. So another idea is you can get a little rubber band, just kind of pop it, which could hurt depending on how hard you pull it. Or you just squeeze your hand. This is my preferred method. If I have a negative thought, I'm just going to squeeze my hand slightly and just remind myself, that's a negative I am thought. The next step is you want to replace it with a positive thought. And the positive thought should always start with I am, okay? I am a great singer. I'm a great public speaker. I am a great swimmer, right? Whatever it is you want to do that. And what happens is you do the select and eliminate, agree and comply process. When you select I am or I can, the right brain is going to eliminate can't or not, and your right brain is going to agree and comply. Now, what you're going to do next is you're going to do some affirmations. And the way you do this is not just when you think a negative thought are you going to replace it. Multiple times during the day, you're going to have a little note on your toothbrush or your phone or on your computer or on the mirror, and you're going to repeat the I am statement. I am a great singer. I am a great public speaker. I am confident in crowds. I am whatever thing that belief you want to change. Again, all these affirmations do is select the positive, eliminate the negative. The right brain agrees and complies. The next step is you want to focus on, this is where we start using the right brain. You want to imagine, visualize that you are a great singer. You're going to control your remember and worry. And what you do is you get in a quiet spot and you get comfortable and you just visualize me succeeding. Imagine myself singing beautifully or speaking comfortably or swimming effortlessly or running fast or being good in a test taking. Test anxiety is kind of a big deal, right? You can imagine that and you might even imagine like a movie getting nervous like you normally do in the test, but you also visualize breathing, being positive, affirming that you can do it, and then the fear will dissipate and then you have success. The next one is train. And the train part is you actually do a little pretending, okay? And that is act as if. Pretend you're a great singer. You might even do a little role playing. And this one's the hardest part because this means you're actually going to try the other way. Now, what Bobby Summer says, she describes this as a simple, effective plan, but hard to do. And the reason it's hard to do is you have to kind of be okay with failing a whole bunch of this. And over time, as you get there, pretty much your paradigm is going to have a slow shift. And you suddenly realize, oh, I'm believing the negative less and the positive more. And she says it takes about 6 weeks of consistently doing this. And you're going to have ups and downs and 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But over time, you can actually reprogram this right part of your brain, okay? And that is craft. Okay, any comments on this? So Susanna says, I practiced this in recent years and it changed your life. I have a testimony of this as well. It's effective, okay? Any thoughts on this?
I have a comment.
Sure.
You said Bobby Summer says that it takes a long time. I can say that when the Spirit witnesses to you that you have that ability, it doesn't take any time at all.
I would
you
agree.
know it.
Yeah, thank you. And that is a great gift and a thing that you can pray for, right? So, yeah, thank you, Heavenly. I've had experiences where my paradigm shifting that needed to happen has been slow. I've had other times when the paradigm, kind of this aha moment, is quick. Okay, good. Any other comments? All right, so what I'm going to show you next is 3 examples of PCD Part 1. This first one is mine. I am not afraid of the number 7. I just have a typo on this one. I've actually fixed it on my creed document, so just understand that I only have 12, not 13. But I'm too lazy. This is a bad habit of going in and fixing it. But this is an example of what you're going to be submitting. A list of beliefs that you have and why, okay? I'll just list a couple. I believe in the power of habit and strive each day to become slave to good habits. I believe in the value of routine. I believe in self-mastery. I believe in the Savior. I believe in His church. I believe in my family. I believe in empathy. I believe that empathy is a spiritual gift. Now, empathy is a good one because I'm going to use this as an example, okay? I believe in empathy. I am poor at it. Okay, this is one of the gifts that I'm trying to work on. Now, I'm not saying I'm not unempathetic, I'm not uncaring, I'm not mean by nature, but I am naturally not inclined to empathy. So this is, the fact that I'm listing this as a belief in my creed document doesn't mean that I've arrived. It means that it's something that I'm working on. And so, you know, some of these, I feel like I've got more down than others. I believe in the importance of family. I'm all there on that. Doesn't mean I'm always the best husband and father, but I believe in that. I believe in the Savior. I believe in His church. But a couple of these I'm still working on, but I believe it, and it's something I want to get to. Okay? So a question here from Kelsey, does your belief document have to have art? It does not. That is up to you, because this is your document. Whatever inspires you. And now, for most of you, in fact, all of the ones that I've read so far, like maybe 20 or so, none of them have any artwork yet. Okay, it's just the words. That's perfectly fine. Now, if you want to have it be artistic or have some kind of symbolism or graphic elements, you can wait and do that at the end. In fact, that's what happens most. But if you know right now that you want to, you could take a little extra time, and it's easiest in PowerPoint. It's not the only tool. In PowerPoint, it's easy to move fonts around, insert pictures, make it look like you want to look like. So my advice, if it's something that you like, expresses yourself, then maybe so, but you don't have to. Okay, example number 2. This is, actually I have 4 examples. Do I have 4? Maybe 3. No, I have 4. So here's another example. I'm just going to read a couple of these. I believe in God, the eternal Father. I believe in being a mother. I believe our freedom. I believe in the temple's house of God. I believe in myself. Lindsay says in the instructions, the belief statement should be about a paragraph long. No. You can see by mine, and you can see by this. It's just a sentence. Now, if it just says, I believe in happiness, I think it's better to expound on it a little bit. Okay. And there is no specific format to follow. Okay, so I think I answered that one from Susanna as well. Okay, here's a more simple example, and just a list of beliefs and why these beliefs are there, why they have these beliefs. And so, Erica, I've seen them in Word, I've seen them in PowerPoint, I've seen them in Prezis. The most common is PowerPoint, and simply because it's easiest to add stuff to it. But whatever tool you want, that's up to you. All right, last example, again, is just, and this one has a little more verbiage, which is fine. Failure, truth, respect, modesty, commitment, leadership, learning, family, work, compassion, forthrightness. Okay. Kelly's asking how many beliefs. There is no set number. Okay. I've seen 8, I've seen 15, I've seen 30. My recommendation would be 10 to 12. Think of the Articles of Faith at 13, right? Now, a little later in the semester, we're going to do a second one that might feel similar to this, because you're going to write down your values, and your values are could be similar to your beliefs. We're going to talk about that as we go along. So I've gone over time. I'm going to just wrap this up. I'll stay on for any questions that you have. But this week you have Personal Creed Document 1. Again, many of you have already handed it in. Great work so far. This is due Friday. You have your case study quiz, the case studies on mattering. We talk about labeling and self-image. 6 questions, all worth 1 point each. You have your discussion board post, and then your threaded discussion, and then the class meeting report lesson evaluation, which is what we have every week. So, any questions that anybody has before I sign off? At least the recording, and then I'll stay on to answer any questions that any of you might have. Any questions? All right, I'm stopping the recording. Again, good luck to everybody. Please email me if you have any questions. If not, I'll see you next week. And again, I'll stay on to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.